So it seems the energy of this week is leading up to things from the past being highlighted, possibly around aspects of like restriction, control, something like that, and leading to some kind of not knowing what to do about it. Anyways, watch the whole video for more information. Just a reminder that this is meant to be a mundane reading, as in this is how it affects us all, geopolitically, economically, etc. It is not at all a personal sun sign or all signs kind of a forecast or any kind of a collective reading, although sometimes collective messages do come through. I also do this intuitively by connecting via my own higher self. If you want to know more about how I do that and how these readings work, etc., you can head on over to my website, mysticalmark.ca, for more information on that. Okay, so we're going to start off here on Sunday, August 16th, and we're going to jump right to Mars here, which is going to be in this quincunx to Pluto retrograde. Okay, so Mars, quincunx, Pluto retrograde. So we're shifting back to more of a domestic focus. I said with Mars coming into Cancer, there's going to be action taken domestically surrounding this. So this feels like things that have been brought up via this Pluto retrograde. You've kind of been almost like forced to look at or deal with in some way. Things that get drudged up and you're kind of like, hey, this is what's got to transform and change. We've got to make progress on these things. Hence the Aquarius theme, making progress. That aspect of awakening to something as well, especially with that Pluto energy that's diving deep, focusing on what you really need to see to heal and transform, and that awakening aspect to that. I think there's a very strong realization. It deals with collective and people as well. Maybe that helps to push with that intensity. But there's something here, and it's like the feel of this quincunx is like, it's like shit. It's like leaders realizing that they can't be idiots anymore. Like, I don't know how else to say this. It's like they've purposely just not cared about certain things, and now they don't have a choice but to, in some instances, to be able to just finally, like, I don't know, it's like deal with something like domestically as like within their own country. It almost feels like there's this old way of doing things that's like the old boys club, where they just get to kind of like just do whatever they want, say whatever. They've got people doing certain things, and it's like they don't really have to do much, right? It's like, it's almost like there was something else that was running the system or something, and now it's like, shit, we've got it. It's like it's almost like they're being called out, or like there's something about that where they've really got to actually face and begin to it's almost like it's forcefully pushing it in their face to begin to take domestic action within their own countries. It's like there's no more just kind of like blowing hot air and not appropriately dealing with things. Sometimes they'll do things that just kind of be like, hey, look, we did something, and then sweep it under the rug, forget about it. This is more like really being pushed to take action on something, and it's like, shit, it's frustrating because now it's like they actually have to do something. Okay, or it's like action is really needing to be taken in a domestic way, whatever that means for whatever specific country in their own unique way. Okay, so that is Sunday the 16th. Let's move on to, and again, I'm being reminded to say this, just because the transit peaks on this day doesn't necessarily mean that it's only going to happen on this day. Transits build and wane, and that energy exists for an energetic window, and it can still have that effect during that time frame. Okay, so let's move on to the 17th here. So we're going to have Mars in square to Neptune retrograde. Okay, something about hidden stuff. Yeah, something is the things that are now becoming visible. I feel like it relates to this quincunx as well. that things that are now being shown, becoming visible, that has to be taken action on. Okay, with this Mars energy as well as with this Aries energy, obviously Mars rules Aries, there's a supportiveness towards pushing for action on certain things that have, the word that I'm getting is ignored, that have been ignored. And it's like you really have to, the frustration is that they have to deal with it. It's like a lot of the leaders and stuff, they don't want to deal with it, but the frustration is that now it's like, yeah, this is a huge thing now, you have to deal with it. Okay, and it's pushing for each of those individual leaders in their own domestic way to have that domestic focus, to take action in whatever way that is. And of course, this is Neptune retrograde, so we're going over these old things that are being maybe a bit more revealed, are being brought up as to, okay, you can't just, ignore this. It's been pushed to be hidden, but are they purposely tried to hide it or just ignore it? But then it's like, no. This is not something that we can ignore anymore. Okay? There's positive hidden things that can remain hidden in whatever way because they're positive. But if you're just blatantly ignoring something because you don't want to deal with it, that's not going to remain hidden. At least it seems like not any longer, not in this energy for whatever reason. We're also going to have Mercury here in trine to Saturn retrograde. There's awareness here and communication about past restrictions of sovereignty, of, I almost want to say of freedom, but this Aries energy of sovereignty, individuality, that individual part of us. And yeah, I guess they're saying what I get a sense of is freedom, as it relates to your freedom, your independence, that kind of a thing. But because Saturn's retrograde, it's relating to these past things. And now something is being revealed that will eventually lead to something positive, but it's saying something that was negative that had occurred in the past involving certain restrictions. And controls, how we were trying to be controlled. Our independence was trying to be controlled. Maybe possibly our freedoms in whatever way. Okay, I'm burping there. Usually when that happens, it's like them saying, okay, pay attention to that, how your freedoms were restricted in whatever way. And now there's maybe more awareness or communication coming into the spotlight with that Mercury and Leo there, showing that, hey, this happened. But through this, almost like kind of like an awakening moment, but it's like bringing it into the light in some way. It's now being able to be looked at and to be dealt with. And that's what I mean by it leads to a positive ending, is because, and that's an eventuality, okay? It's not right now in this. That's an eventuality that's currently undetermined. But what I get a sense of with this is it's at least bringing this to light so it can be dealt with for that eventuality, okay? And maybe to just have these things, those restrictions and stuff, like never happen again. But there's something about that is coming through with that trine to Saturn. We're also going to have Venus here in sextile to Jupiter. Okay. As I said with Jupiter in Leo, this is highlighting and bringing to light in a very expansive way a lot of maybe issues that were I almost want to say hidden in government, or there's going to be a lot of maybe more global issues or things that are going to be in our face. They're in the spotlight. They're unavoidable now. With that Leo energy, remember the sun rules Leo, so it's illuminating. It's putting something into the spotlight, okay, so that we really see it. This is a very strong, Leo is a very strong positive masculine energy. But with masculine energy, it expresses outward. So it's not an internal thing. It's it's like that expressive, almost like an extroverted energy. And Leo is very much that. It's really expressing and being yourself. But in this instance, how this energy is being used is this expansiveness of this spotlight, of this expression of something for what it actually was or is or whatever of that. And with this sextile to Venus, I get this again, whoever these people are that are it's almost like a higher level of government or some level of government or something that are looking to seek balance and justice in some way. And they're trying to figure out a way to not only to bring to light things that they almost seems that has been hidden in some way, or to deal with what has been shoved into the spotlight in whatever way that is. And we see here that Venus is in fact building into an opposition to Saturn retrograde in Aries. So this could deal very much so with those restrictions, past restrictions to individuality, sovereignty, freedom, whatever, etc., that are there. So I feel it's like it could be related to the same issue, could be not. This could go in different ways, but yeah, that's what I get a sense of with that. And again, I'm being reminded that just because this is on Monday, this is an energy here, an energetic theme that's likely to be carried. I feel like some of it from the previous week heading into this week and for a while this week. Okay, so let's move on then to Tuesday the 18th. So the only thing on this day is we're going to have Mercury in this I don't know if, yeah, there it is, this quintile to Uranus. This feels very internalized regarding an awareness of what I've already talked about, like this overinflation, something going in the spotlight, and the communication and awareness of that. And because Uranus is in Gemini, which Mercury also rules too, interestingly enough with all of this, but it's this internalized focus of like almost like an awakening, a shocking, something aware, but it's like something that has happened that has now made us aware. I feel like this is more of people on a collective scale. This isn't something that necessarily would show up in the news, possibly in some way, but I feel like this is more of an internal, it's almost like, especially with the quintile, it's more like hidden work. It's almost like this internal work or reflection that is almost forced upon us through whatever this communication, the shocking communication, or this awakening moment possibly is, through whatever a lot of these other energies are happening right now. Okay, I'm kind of being drawn to just call it there, so we'll just leave it at that. Let's move on to Wednesday the 19th. This is when we're going to have this first quarter moon. The moon in Scorpio and the sun in Leo. And what I've already talked about. As the sun is building on its south node, okay, this is there. Okay. This is relating to past things. As we have that, we'll talk about this. I believe this conjunction happens on Saturday of this week. But as this conjunction will happen to the sun of the south node, this is very much before the sun enters into Virgo. This is very much highlighting these old things that are coming up into the spotlight in order to, in essence, with the north node here in Aquarius, awaken and to make progress and moving forward away from that old stuff. It's being highlighted for a reason. And like I said, with this nodal configuration that we're going to have basically until March, I believe, 2028, that it's highlighting a lot of this stuff that is going to continue to occur through this nodal transit, basically. With this square to the moon in Scorpio. This, what I get a sense of, is very revealing, as in diving deep straight into something for what it actually is. I say a lot of people don't like the energy of Scorpio because of it makes them face the skeletons in their own closet. It makes them see something for what it is. Scorpio can be very psychic energy. Scorpio dives deep. Scorpio sees something for what it is. But that's, in terms of a healing sense, it's very transformative. Hence that idea of Scorpio, the phoenix rising from the ashes, that transformative aspect, as when you face it and you're able to directly deal with it, you can then heal and transform. Okay, that's the positive effect of Scorpio and the positive effect of this. Now, but this is very much what I get a sense of is hidden, dealing with very deep hidden things. And we're dealing with the moon here as well, which can deal with like subconscious hidden types of stuff, emotional stuff as well. It's both like water energy. Okay. So it's dealing with more of that hidden, but I get more of the Scorpio kind of with that in terms of being aware and this transformation that may occur based on what has been hidden, what comes to light, etc., etc., etc. Okay, we're also going to have Mars here in this semi-sextile to Uranus and Gemini. The words that I'm getting are a call to action. I feel like maybe there's an awakening moment here with Uranus and Gemini through whatever awareness. Gemini, a lot for me lately has been, what I get through intuitively is this aspect of awareness, whether it's through communication, through whatever, it's an awareness. There's an awareness here to maybe learn from something or realize something. Okay, and a lot of times that happens via our minds and communication. So the awareness, there's an awakening awareness here with this that is really pushing for action, it feels like domestically again, on a country by country kind of a level to do something about whatever. But domestic action, or an awakening regarding domestic action or something like that, in terms of how this energy is being used. Okay, we're also going to have Mercury in this sesqui-square to Neptune retrograde. Again, it's communicating and bringing into the spotlight those aspects of what's been hidden. That sesqui-square is a super square. It's a square and a half. It's something that can't be swept under the rug any longer. It's really pushing for action, for resolution on something. Okay? It's what's been hidden in terms of, like, our independence. And I feel like this underlying energy of this Saturn retrograde and how we've been restricted or whatever in that way too. But this fire energy, these fire signs, these two masculine signs of Leo and Aries, are very much supporting this extroverted, outwardly focused, pushing this stuff outward kind of a thing. It's a very supportive masculine energy in bringing this stuff to the surface, into the spotlight to be seen, so it can be appropriately dealt with and action appropriately taken on for whatever reason. Okay, so yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. We're also going to have the sun here in trine to Black Moon Lilith in Sagittarius. Instantly what I get is this idea of how we've been outcasted collectively, almost as a people globally in some way, is going to be highlighted through this energy. Highlighted, outcast, and that can go in, like, honestly, a myriad of different ways. But basically how populations, peoples, countries, etc. have been outcasted. And I feel like with the Sagittarius energy, this is globally in whatever way. And it feels like it may be related to the past. We've got the sun here moving on top of the south node. I very much get a sense that this could be relating to past things coming up into the spotlight on how this has occurred. Okay, so that's Wednesday the 19th. Let's move on to Thursday the 20th here. We're going to have the sun in this biquintile to Neptune. We're dealing with hidden aspects again, coming into light. But this feels like past things, past like dirty deeds that were done behind the scenes that are now, okay, I get this as beginning to see the light of day. And not that they're going to happen, but beginning to see the light of day as in we begin to see the actual, okay, so how do I say this? We've already seen so these things have already happened. We've already seen the effects. What is being brought to the light of day is more like who and what was behind it, and what were they concocting in that way, or in like who was in cahoots with who, or whatever, right? Along with, that's what I get with this biquintile energy, is like bringing up with that hidden stuff of who behind the scenes did what, or what really was really working things behind the scenes to cause something to happen in the past, or in whatever reason that was. I don't know, but something's being definitely brought to somebody's awareness, or brought to light in whatever way with this. Okay, we're also going to have the sun in a quincunx to Juno retrograde in Capricorn. This is related to the exact same thing. Same energy. And what partnerships were colluding for control. I get that this frustration is more collective, as in a what the fuck kind of an energy, as things start to begin to come into the spotlight for whatever this is. Regarding these old partnerships that were, what I get a sense of is colluding for control in whatever way. We're also going to have Mercury here in semi-square to Mars in Cancer. I feel like it's related to the same thing, but it feels like an awareness of action, domestic action that was taken previously in some way. And they're saying another way that this could go about at the same time is taking domestic action, like internally for a country, taking a domestic action based on what a certain communication or information or whatever that has been brought to awareness, or brought to the light, or put into the spotlight, or whatever with that Mercury and Leo. Okay, and that's all I'm going to say about that. So let's move on to Friday the 21st. Okay, we're going to have Venus now. This is when Venus will be in that opposition to Saturn. I feel like this is really going to be playing out prior to this day. And it's like I said, I get this again, there's a group of people involved. That's what I get with this Venus energy, is these relationships of people, whether it's like a work relationship, it feels like a government relationship of these people involved that are trying to seek some kind of balance, understanding, justice of something. And with this opposition to Saturn retrograde that had dealt with restriction and control in terms of individuality, freedom, sovereignty, etc. as a country, or as countries, and also as people, as a collective, as this could go in either multiple ways or all those ways at once. I really don't know. But there's some kind of aspect of restriction of individuality, freedom, whatever, that is trying to be understood by whoever this group of people is, to seek some kind of balance or justice in whatever way. We're also going to have the sun here in sesqui-square to Saturn retrograde, as it's ready to go right on top of the south node. It's basically at the same degree, but not at the same minute yet. Highlighting again. Previous old ways of power and control and restriction of individuality, sovereignty, freedom, etc. is what I get with this energy. And independence. It's being highlighted. It's past stuff. We've got Sun on South Node, Saturn retrograde, sesqui square that pushes for resolution. It's wanting to really push to bring this stuff up to see it for what it is or what it was in whatever way. And again, I'm being drawn that this is Friday, but there's a lot that's this energy that's built up. All of these things are working together, and this is maybe more of an overall theme than it is anything else. And to not be so day specific. Now let's go to Saturday the 22nd. This is when we're going to have the sun coming into Virgo. I say this every single time. The sun is just more of like an overarching energy. I do not focus on the sun, even in personal charts. When people say, oh, I'm whatever, I'm this because of their sun sign. That's a load of shit. Because for some people, yeah, there may be a prominent sun. For other people, not so much. It may be reflecting more of the house that it's in. Or there could be aspects to it that are affecting that more than the actual energy of the sign itself, or a bunch of other things. So I do not focus on sun sign astrology because it's very basic. It's extremely limited and surface level, and it almost means nothing to the majority of people. So if all you're doing is just reading some horoscope based on your sun sign, that's just a load of shit. Like you're not getting anywhere with that. I'm sorry, you're not. And if you're trying to relate that to your life, you're likely just trying to mentally make stuff up in some way to try to fit the puzzle piece into place when it's not really what it is. You need to look at your entire chart and have an understanding of who you are as a complex individual being, right? You can't just be fit into one box of one sign. It doesn't work that way. Like, there's more to you than that. Okay, so every time a sun enters a sign, I say the exact same thing. It's just all I get a sense of is an overarching highlight of this energy, in this case Virgo. Okay, moving on. We're going to have Venus here. This is before the sun enters Virgo, but Venus is going to be making aspects to the nodes here. I mean, traditionally in astrology, these are minor aspects. I do not call them minor aspects. I do not consider them minor in any way, shape, or form. They are not that at all in my personal experience. Not at all. Venus will be in sesqui square to the north node and semi-square to the south node. Whatever this group of people is in the government, that's what I talked about before, they're trying to seek balance or justice or understanding, they're confused as fuck on where the hell to go and what the hell to do. Based on what has come up from the past, it seems like it's very like, what the hell, what the fuck, like, they don't know what to, it's like this, whatever's being highlighted from the past, it's almost like there's an awakening moment here, and especially with the sesqui square, they know they've got to do something to push forward because of like a what the fuck kind of an energy that this is. But it's almost like they have no idea what the hell to do. They've never experienced or had to deal with this stuff before. Whatever it is that's coming up, so maybe causing some kind of awakening or understanding or whatever. They're trying. Okay, it's not that they necessarily don't. Well, they in a way don't know how, but they're trying to figure out an appropriate way to deal with something that they've never actually had to deal with before. In that way. And it's based on basically everything that I've said in this video. Venus is also going to be in a quintile to Black Moon, Lilith, and Sagittarius. This is relating to, so their concern is how a lot of people, other people, have been, and this feels like a large number of people have been outcasted or tossed aside or not being looked after or not being taken care of in whatever way. And there's like, we have to do something about it, but there's confusion on how to deal with it, how to bring justice, bring it back into balance. There's an unsurety of what exactly the action should be to handle these things in whatever way. The sun is, before it moves into Virgo, is going to be in exact conjunction to the South Node and direct opposition to the North Node. My guidance on this right now that I'm getting, and this is highlighting, again, this overarching energy that will be until March 2028 of highlighting, shining a light on these old things from the past that are coming up, spotlighting them in order to bring about this awakening, moving forward towards awakening, understanding, progress, etc. And it feels like it's going to be chaos. It's going to be chaotic. It's going to be chaotic as we go through it. Right? We're dealing with this Aquarius, Uranian energy. Okay? And with Uranus, the ruler of Aquarius, where the North Node is in right now, is in Gemini. This could be shocking communication, awareness, that kind of stuff through this entire time frame, as in pulling us forward in this direction of awakening, of awareness, and making appropriate progress to better things. But the South Node, this highlighting of this South Node here, is really this, it's almost like this anchoring in of this spotlight energy on these old things that are really truly coming up, and maybe even relating to this confusion of what the hell this group of government people are going to do in whatever situation that this is. Okay, so that's the end of the week. I mean, if you've made it this far in the video, please leave a purple heart in the comments so that I know you're a real one. Thank you so much. I said that correctly this time. I also do a review of these videos after the fact. So after the week is complete, you can see I go over the news stories for the week to see what came to fruition from these forecasts, as well as I'm starting to do monthly overviews as well. The articles are on my website, and I will start to do the monthly overviews of the articles as videos as well on YouTube, hopefully continuing going forward as well. Okay, and of course, if you are looking for any kind of a reading with me, all of those links will be in the description below, or you can head over to my website, mysticalmark.ca. Thank you all for watching. Take care of yourselves. Have a great week. Bye for now.